Here we go. We're live. Mr. Clueless Drinkers in the house. How you doing,
mate?
It's been
a while. Not too bad. How are you doing?
All right, mate. All right. I think the last live that we did was that Castile Quad, was it?
I think so. That's going a fair bit back.
That's going back quite a while, anyway. But yeah, always good to have a chat with this guy.
Likewise.
We were hoping to obviously get two of these new Brewdog beers that have come on the scene. It's creating a bit of a fuss at the moment. I managed to get both. Unfortunately, Peter could only get one, but he substituted the other one for the Hazy Jane.
Yeah, the OG Hazy. The thing is, they've still got the Hazy Jane in bottles, and I don't know why I didn't think to pick up a bottle of it to try and compare it. But
yeah, there's a that's doing its rounds at the moment, isn't it? That Hazy Jane and the OG. That seems to be there's a lot of people getting in on that at the moment, which is all good. You know, put it out there. It's new beers and all that jazz. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So basically, what I've done, I've already cracked open the Roaster Coaster with the Evil Twin collab. Nitro Imperial Vietnamese Coffee Stout. I've done a review. That'll be up sometime tomorrow, maybe, or anything. But we're gonna crack on with the Future Proof because we've both got a can of that. So if you want to do the honours, Peter, and reel off the spiel.
Yeah, of course. Quite toned down by the looks of it on this. So California docks in Aberdeen for this West Coast unification. An all-American IPA flexing its hoppy muscles. Massive tropical fruit aroma disembarks. I'm not going to go into the rest of those tasting notes. And then, it's just basically bullshit tasting notes after that. Future-proof, West Coast wizardry.
Pretty toned down for Brewdog standards.
Yeah, it's actually quite reserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like this sort of branding they've got on these cans.
Yeah. They've all. I mean, they've had that sort of thing for years, haven't they? Before the Cloudwater release in the supermarkets, they've done lots of these versus beers, haven't they? And they've always sort of stuck to that sort of formula, which I quite like. Yeah,
I do like it. But modern times. That's a brewery you don't see much of.
No, I've had the pleasure of trying a few of their beers. They're pretty good at making a stout. I'll give them that. Big on coffee as well. I think they do their own. They've got their own roasting facility and stuff, so they do their own beans and all that. I've had quite a few stouts from them and a couple of light beers. Yeah, they're pretty decent. I know there was Simon touched on it, saying about they've been bought out and stuff, but I don't think they have. I might be wrong, but
I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I don't think he was in the best of moods when he was doing those reviews.
But we can.
But I'm sure we'll. We'll get to that.
We'll dig a little bit deep onto that. Of course, there's a lot to talk about really regarding Brewdog and not just these beers. So anyway, we'll get this cracked open, see what we get with it.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Oh, we've got a filtered jobber then.
Yeah, it looks like classic sort of Brewdog in appearance for me.
Yeah. Deep
sort
orange.
Of like goldeny amber. Yeah. And slightly off whitehead on mine.
I'd go, solid white on mine, about a finger's worth.
Yeah, same. Doesn't look too bad.
No. Yeah, like you say, classic sort of Brewdog sort of clarity to it, I suppose. Let's go in for a nose then. Oh, Elvis juice in my head for a minute then.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's got a little bit of like a slight subtle caramel aroma.
I'm just getting that sort of like characteristic Elvis juice sort of grapefruit aroma. Not probably not as intense, but it's I do get that grapefruit.
Yeah, definitely get that grapefruit, and I know exactly what you mean. That kind of smell like Elvis juice.
A little bit, yeah. Tone down the version a bit, maybe.
Yeah. Doesn't smell too bad by all accounts.
Nice, yeah. Let's go for the kill on it then, Peter. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't really know what to make of that.
I was expecting a little bit more, I think, if I was completely honest.
Yeah. It's really bitter, isn't it?
Piffiness to it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of sweetness in there that sort of masks that bitterness a little bit, but there's no getting away from it. It needs a little bit more to it, I think.
Yeah. It's just fallen a little bit flat, but I don't know what I would. I don't know. There's a little bit of like a slight resiny stickiness to it.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more. I think with modern times being linked to it, a good, in my opinion, a good solid American brewery. I was expecting a proper, true, authentic West Coast IPA. But what I'm getting is, I don't know. I suppose like if a regional brewery was having a bash at a West Coast IPA.
Yeah, it's got like a sort of like a reminds you of something like Jennings. I mean, compared to like other sort of West Coast IPAs that I've had recently, I think it's a little bit weak even in that regard. And I think a lot of breweries nowadays who do the West Coast don't really get the West Coast style right. This has got it's almost got like a slight medicinal, metallic-y taste, I find.
I'm not getting any of that. I'm not getting any of that metallic taste, as you say. I'm just getting a very basic take on a West Coast beer.
Yeah.
The only sort of thing I can pull out of it from my palate is that sort of pithy grapefruit characteristic to it, and then that pulling nothingness bitterness to it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And go back to Elvis juice, I think if you were to put a bit of like a sweet pink grapefruit into the recipe, I think you've got like a quite nice. Well, mind you, it's pretty much the same ABV as regular Elvis juice, isn't it? It tastes a lot heavier than a 6.2% beer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to sum it up for me, I'm a bit disappointed with it.
Yeah, it's going to be a chore to finish that, I think.
Yeah, it's on par with like a core beer, isn't it? From them. There's no next level to it, and I think people come to expect that next level from this series of beers that Brewdog do. Obviously, coming off the back of the Cloudwater one, which
definitely.
Yeah, I don't think that's got nothing to worry about. Quite a few of these beers that came in on wave 1 and wave 2 from Tesco's, I don't think have got nothing to worry about.
No, definitely not.
This isn't going to trouble them, I don't think.
No. I think there's a lot there that they can sort of develop on. So I think it could be quite an interesting beer if they sort of rethought the recipe, sort of like what London Beer Factory did with the Big Milk Stout.
Yeah.
But yeah. I can't see this one sticking around too much.
No. I don't know about you, Peter, but when I heard that these beers were coming out, and I'm sure other guys out there on YouTube, beer reviewers, were probably thinking exactly the same. You get worked up by it a little bit, because of the momentum of interest from it, almost, and it sort of builds the beer up to be something it's not. And definitely in regards to this Future Proof, it's been pumped up.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just nosedived a little bit for me. Yeah.
I think if this just appeared in the supermarket without you sort of like preconceived, but then again, you see it in the supermarket and you think, oh, hang on a minute. So you'd kind of build it up, I suppose, anyway. But the thing that gets me about beers like this is Brewdog used to be amazing at these sorts of IPAs.
They used to be amazing at quite a lot of styles.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think Brewdog still do a lot of really good. But I think their stouts, especially the Imperial strength.
Yeah. Abstract stuff is proper back to back. Yeah, our Brewdog was, they know how to do a decent Imperial stout. I was chatting to one of my mates, Scott Wonder Be a Wonder. I was just chatting to him earlier on this morning about Brewdog's core range, and it's almost like they've just let any Tom, Dick, and Harry just get on with it. They're not bothered by it almost with some of their beers,
Yeah. I find a lot with their core range stuff, it's really inconsistent. Sometimes you'll have a great sort of a 4-pack of Punk, and then you'll get another 4-pack and it's just a little bit nothing there.
Yeah. So you don't expect that, though, do you?
No, definitely not. And I think that's why I like beers like Elvis Juice shine, because you can always use that additional ingredient like grapefruit or whatever to sort of like just add an interesting angle on it. Yeah. And it's a real shame because Brewdog don't need to be doing this sort of beer.
No. But I think it's the point of no return now, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've safely cemented their footprint on the shelves in pretty much all the supermarkets now, and it's
just have to bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, no probs. I'll go through the comments then while he's just come off. Okay, Matt Barker. Hello, Matt. How you doing, mate? Alas, Peter couldn't get the roaster coaster. But I'll talk a little bit about that beer because, like I say, I've done a review on it. It'll probably be up tomorrow, but I will talk a little bit about it. Peter will probably do his Hazy OG in the meantime on that one. Jaeger says, evening, mate. Hope you're doing well. I'm nervous about this one. I want the stout to be. I think the stout's all right. Yeah, I don't think there's no worries with that one. Rory Lee. Hello, Rory. How are you doing, pal? Hope you're doing well, mate. Drinking plenty of Daya, no doubt. And then another Thomas McCarthy. Window beer review with Thomas. Hi. How are you doing, mate? I've noticed you're knocking a lot of Brewdog beers out at the moment on your reviews, and they're a bit sort of up and down. Keep at it though, pal. Did you see Simon's little pop at? Yeah, I did. Yeah. For me personally, it's not that bloke's fault, is it? He's just doing a job. He's like the middleman in it all. Yeah, that's my opinion on it anyway. I don't want to get bogged down with all that. Captain Meats. Phil. Is it Phil? If I remember rightly, Philip. Drinking future proof, first time I have a beer with a live review. Then Mr. Ronald. Good evening. Good evening, pal. Hope you're doing well. Grant Cooper. I look forward to the West Coast IPA review after seeing Simon give it 1 out of 10. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I don't do scores on my beer reviews, but I don't think it's that bad. It's worth more than a 1 out of 10. What do you reckon, Peter?
I'd agree with that. I don't think I'd rush out to buy it again. No. But I think to give it that sort of score where it's like borderline undrinkable.
No, it's
not. It's a little bit harsh.
Yeah, it's not undrinkable. It's not amazing by any stretch. I don't know, a 6 out of 10 beer, maybe?
I'd say so. Like just sort of like a flat 9, 5 for me. I think there's definitely something there, and I think if enough people are to like make it known to them, it wouldn't surprise me if they did sort of tweak the recipe. Yeah, I mean, you touched on London Beer Factory going back to the drawing board. With they obviously took notice of people's anger at the Big Milk Stout and of course Dance Juice as well, and they went straight back to the drawing board on both beers with them, and I think that's a fair play to them for doing that. I can't see Brewdog doing that though myself. True. Yeah. It'd be nice if they did, but I don't think they would. Stuart Coswell. Future Proof is pretty underwhelming. Had it last night. Very tame for the start. Yeah. 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 Definitely. When you've got that American connection straight away with the collab of the brewery, you expect something piney, resiny, dank. And it's not in there, is it, really? Yeah. It's void of all that. No, it's almost like they had a recipe that they did with Modern Times, and then they sort of thought, oh, we better tame this down a little bit, because the supermarket's aimed at sort of like the mass market as you can get, and if they produce something that doesn't sell, because I think it's going to have a big initial push for the next few weeks. But I think if they would have, I don't know, it's weird. I think people lose sight of these sorts of beers. They're not made really for, without sounding like a ponce, they're not really made for us. They're made for sort of like the big market, easy to get hold of. Yeah. And give people sort of like a little bit of better options. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, there are loads. There's loads of avenues you can go down. What stance that you're on with these beers being in the supermarket? Like you'll dip your toes in the water with supermarket beer, and you'll also go to your bottle shops. Same with me. That's what I do. Online, bottle shops, supermarkets.
best of both worlds, but best of all worlds.
Yeah.
You're never going to get a world-class beer in a supermarket, are you?
No.
That's what your bottle shops are for. You pay that little bit more, of course you do. But that's what them bottle shops are for, and the online retailers. These are just fridge fillers without being...
Yeah.
If that's your sort of thing. Me personally, I wouldn't want to fridge fill that. But there are supermarket beers out there that would fridge fill, that I do.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Brewdog is probably one of the breweries that I do go back to a lot. And a lot of the time it's because people have bought me them. Because it's sort of like, oh, I've got a family member who likes beer. I'm sure they like Brewdog. And yeah, I still like Punk every now and then. Elvis Juice. Had it last week because I picked up that like £4 for £6 last time I was in Tesco. And I was like, oh, I remember why I really enjoy this beer. And as we've always experienced when we go to like a Brewdog bar, you don't always necessarily have a Brewdog beer because they'll have a good, interesting guest list.
Yeah.
So I think when people like say Brewdog are completely sold out and all this sort of stuff, well, people wouldn't sell the beer to Brewdog for them to stock it in the shelves, in their fridges.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that breweries won't use Brewdog as sort of like a stepping stone to get their beers out there. Because I'm sure there's breweries who don't really like Brewdog beers, don't like their philosophy. But if we can be on the Brewdog like the website, tap list, or on the fridge on a shelf, well, there you go.
And they do have some interesting breweries on their web shop. The guest beer list is always impressive.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they'll mix it up every sort of couple of weeks and bring a few new ones in. I looked on there back end of last week. You had the likes of Omnipollo on there.
Oh yeah.
Polly's Brew, Cloudwater. I think there was a few North beers on there. There's a few American stuff, but I think that was just knocked down. I don't know if it's sort of old stock or whatnot. I don't know, but yeah, they've got a pretty mixed bag of decent beer on there. So yeah, it's how you've just got to. It's no good going in all guns blazing and just fucking Brewdog this, Brewdog that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it pisses me off, but I can take a few positives from it. It's not all negative.
Yeah. Would you say it's worth the £3 now?
No.
Yeah.
Not what else is sitting next to it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You know, if you want to keep your loyalties to Brewdog, then obviously go for the Cloudwater collab. That hasn't let me down. I've had quite a few cans out. It's never let me down.
No.
But if you're not too fussed about giving Brewdog your £3, then I still think Love and Hate's a good shout.
See, I think I've just had really inconsistent cans of that. But then a lot of people say that about the Cloudwater collab. I was in the beer shop pretty much across the road from Tesco's this morning, and he was saying, I don't think a lot of the stuff on the supermarket shelves is worth £3, because I think I've noticed some consistency issues with some of the beers. But thankfully, up till this point, that New England IPA from Cloudwater and Brewdog, that's just been satisfying can after can.
Yeah, I don't know. I've lost count on how many times I've had love and hate.
Yeah.
Let's just say since the launch, 30 cans of it. I've probably had about 2 bad ones out of that. Never had a bad Cloudwater. Brewdog and Cloudwater. Probably had about 10 or 11, 12 cans of that. No, I ain't had a bad one yet. And the original Hazy Jane as well. I've never had a bad can of that.
No, same here. I've had a couple of dodgy cans of Luminance from Magic Rock.
Luminance, yeah. I've only had a couple of times on that one. But is that a
Lost Cosmonauts? I think they did a West Coast with Vocation, which is actually a really good, solid example of a West Coast. Because again, Magic Rock, one of those breweries who does that style really well, because you could clearly see the influence, especially if you go to their tap room.
Yeah,
it's
Magic Rock are all right.
Pretty much, yeah. I've still got a lot of time for Magic Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see too many sort of new beers, but you can always depend on the likes of Common Grounds, High Wire Grapefruit.
High Wire Grapefruit, yeah.
Sorcery, yeah. I had Sorcery the first time, and I can't remember what the stout's called. Dark Arts.
Dark Arts. Bearded Lady. That's knocking about on their website at the moment, isn't it? As well, whatever variation of that is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back to the comments before we move on. Beer and Building. Simon's 1 out of 10 was savage. Yeah, I think it was a little bit. Yeah.
I'd agree.
Yeah, well, no, fair play for him. He realised he was in the wrong and he put his hands up. But I salute him for that. No problem. Jake O, beer. How you doing, Jake?
It takes a lot to do something.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
Jake.
For as much as he pissed a lot of people off probably doing that video, he's got the balls to put a post up and say, "Look, I'm sorry, I was out of order." So fair play to him for that. Can't knock him for that.
Yeah.
Captain Meats. What is wrong with these companies who start messing around with their products? Brewdog are like George Lucas and ruining Star Wars. Well, yeah, that's referring to the Hazy Jane family. Yeah, I never. Yeah, this hazy family of beers, I just can't see the forward thinking in that myself. I was watching a video. Dave the Beer Dad. He did a video. He did a mini beer haul from Brewdog, and he pretty much most of this Hazy Jane family, and he was baffled by it, and I think a lot of people are. Why fucking like the beer that Peter's got at the moment, the Hazy OG, is supposed to replace the original Hazy Jane. And it's, well, I'm sure Peter will open it up and we'll get his thoughts on what he thinks of it. But I just don't get the sense in it all.
So will there be any more?
The original Hazy Jane was sound.
Will there be any more beers coming into Tesco's in the next couple of months, or is it just...
As far as I'm aware, for me, I think there's another Brewdog beer to come in, which is the 9-point-something% hazy. Is that triple hazy? That's as far as I'm aware, that's the only one that we're waiting on at the moment. I think the rest of them are in now. So you've got the alcohol-free hazy.
All right.
the 5% session hazy, the OG hazy, and then waiting on this triple hazy. So it's pretty much a Brewdog wave of beers, isn't it? I don't think there's anybody else that's coming to the party.
I was looking forward to some new beers in that selection.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while now, hasn't it? In the again, I suppose it's all part and parcel of this hobby, if we can call it that.
Yeah.
You get frustrated after a while of seeing the same beers on the shelves all the time in supermarkets. Yeah. So I think the novelty of the old lot is worn off now, and we want something new. But it's just going to be a few Brewdog beers, I'm afraid.
Yeah, because I know people are making a fuss about that. Oh, sorry. I think there's a little bit of I think my connection's quite bad because I notice I always get a delay when I join live streams. But yeah, I know people. I know Simon also did, and people were also making a fuss about the pale ale in the bottle, and it's like that's not really a new beer. That's been around for a while, and it's always been the shit pale ale that they did.
There's a double pronged assault then on an old beer then because of just the rebranding.
Yeah.
And then,
which, by the way, yeah. I don't like Brewdog's new rebranding on the core range. And
no, I'm not a fan of it. I like the old. I like the original artwork though. Before they changed it from the last lot. I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's what they are now, isn't it? It's what they've become.
Yeah.
In keeping with their surroundings of being placed in a supermarket.
Yeah.
So we've done that. Bang on with the Elvis. Yeah, I do. I get a very sort of weak Elvis juice feel to it.
Yeah, I might agree with that.
Tasted like a craft lager to me.
Take another sip now. Does have a bit of an IPL feel to it.
No, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Matt
that flavour builds up, I've found as well.
I'm up early for work. Skip. Yeah, no problem. No problem, mate. Cheers for commenting anyway, Matt.
Yeah.
Captain Meats. It's no Brewdog v Cloudwater. I think they had a massive success with that. They've done to make such money off. Yeah. It's the Roaster Coaster. That's a different animal altogether, anyway. But comparing the Future Proof to the Brewdog and Cloudwater beer, that don't have to worry about it. That ain't going to tread on its toes. It's not going to get a very good reception, I don't think.
No, I think a lot of people will rightly so criticise it, but unfairly so just blindly shit on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. If it's got off flavours in it, or it's been pissed about with in the brewing process, and I'm not enjoying what I'm drinking, then I'll go in and say, look, this is drain pour basically. It's not drain pour. It is drinkable, but it's forgettable, isn't it? It's just one of them beers.
Yeah. I think it's one of those beers that the more you just drink it, the better it seems to get. But it doesn't get really like, wow, this is developed. It's just like, it's all right.
There's no bells and whistles to it. You could quite easily, you go out with a group of mates, you're just chatting away, and just forget about the beer. The beer would become secondary, and you just go through the motions of putting it to your mouth, drinking it, putting it down, talking, and you'd forget all about it. It's just one of them sort of beers for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Captain. What's he put? The Badco for Asda is better for 129. Big letdown. I haven't got an Asda near me, so I can't comment, mate. But I'll take your word for it.
I think I've had one of the Badco beers from Asda. Hey, Craig.
How you doing, mate? Thomas McCarthy, Drain Pour. Nah, I don't know. It's not. It's not.
I thought when I was the first few sips, I thought this could potentially be going down the bathroom sink, but I've actually it's been a little bit more pleasant the more I've been drinking it.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not Drain Pour, but it's not worth. I don't think it's worth £3.
No.
For what you're getting, you're buying into something that's not there really for me for that £3 look. I mean, you go into a Brewdog bar, you're looking at about.
Yeah. Are they actually? Are they selling this on their website as well, like they're doing with the cloud, or they did with the Cloudwater?
I think they are, yeah.
All right.
I think it's marked up a little bit more on their website. I think it's like $3.30 a can.
All right.
But in the Brewdog pubs, then you're looking at about £6 a can.
Then I would have issue with the beer if I paid that much for it.
Well, the guy that served me, I went into the Brewdog Oxford last week, and I had a third of the Tiny Rebel Dodge Dip Duck Dive Imperial Stout. That was one of these beers from their 8th birthday box. I had a third of that, and it was really, really nice. And then I bought a can of Hazy Jane 5% to take out with me. And he said to me, oh, we've got an offer on in the fridge at the moment on some Brewdog and Cloudwater beers. I'm thinking, right, okay, yeah. I said, what's the offer on them then? He said, oh, it's 3 for a tenner. I said, what, are they different from the supermarket ones then? He said, no. I said, well, how'd you work that one out then? £3. They're £3 in bloody Tesco's, and you're. I was a bit pissed off with that actually. So I thought you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes here, matey.
Oh yeah. It's like, won't work on me, my friend. Yeah, I'm just pouring the OG Hazy now.
I'll just go through the comments then while you're pouring that, mate. Stuart Carswell, no comparison to Hang Loose. Hang Loose, that's pretty decent, yeah. Vocation.
Yeah, I think that's the Vocation Magic Rock.
I will give this one a miss. P.S. I love you. Yeah. You ain't missing out on a great deal. I mean, like I always say, give it a try for yourself. Make your own opinion on it. But I don't think you're going to be wowed by it. I don't think there's going to be many people out there that are like, whoa, what a fantastic West Coast IPA this is. It ain't happening, is it? Captain Meats.
Definitely not.
Best going out and buying Pride and Joy, Go Ship, or even Shipyard, as they have more about them. In fact, Go and Punk IPA in Dupolis. Pride and Joy is all right.
Yeah.
Go
I did
Ship.
really enjoy Duopolis. I thought that was a good.
That seems to be a beer that's split a lot of people's opinions on it. I personally thought it was all right. Didn't mind it, but I know there are guys out there that thought it was absolutely crap.
Yeah, I thought East Coast Crush was quite good.
Yeah. East Coast Crush is good. I had a half of Stratospheric in Brewdog as well, which is like their 7.2, exactly the same profile.
Oh yeah,
double dry oak cream IPA, but it's just 7.2%. That wasn't too bad. Beer Hooligan comments: Brewdog are becoming a joke. Peter?
I mean, I could agree, but 9 times out of 10, if a city's got like a Brewdog bar, I'm going to go there. Because I don't know, Brewdog, I would never say they're one of my favourite breweries. But every now and then, they do really surprise me. But like we were saying, some of their Imperial Stouts these past couple of years have just been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
You did
the 11, Peter?
I think so. I can't remember. I think I got one was the bourbon barrel aged Baltic Porter, which it was a Baltic Porter. I'm going to love it anyway. And I think the bourbon just added a really nice level to it. That one they did with Northern Monk was really nice as well. Like Tokyo Death, or I think it was like Northern Monk's, one of Northern Monk's Imperial Stouts, and then Brewdogs, and they sort of made a recipe from the two. I think when it comes to pale beers from Brewdog, you're probably going to get a better experience getting it from tap from one of the Brewdog bars. Because Duopolis on tap compared to the Duopolis in like cans and bottles, which I do enjoy, is just miles better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at with them. I think anything dark, and I think I'm going to enjoy it a damn sight more than anything light from them. That's not to say that I'm not going to try future beers from them. Of course I am. It's just I'm intrigued with these seasonal beers. I'm always fascinated to see how they pan out. Some better than others, of course, but yeah, I mean, I really, really love Coco Psycho. I think that's an absolutely fantastic.
I've not had that for a while.
Old school Russian Imperial Stout. That's where they are for me. High ABV and dark.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Go on then. Give us a lowdown then on your thoughts on OG then, pal.
It is reminded me a lot of Hazy Jane. And I think this is basically just Hazy Jane, but they've just included the OG, and then renamed it Hazy to fit in with this Hazy family that they're doing.
What is that OG all about then? Is that original gravity?
I'm not too sure. See, I don't know if it's original gravity or like original gangster, which would be
okay.
Why would you do that? But
yeah,
embrace the opaque, and I can't imagine Fierce Beer are too happy with their tagline of fiercely defiant and independent.
Portland group, come on, Portland.
Yeah, come on,
group,
Paul.
get your fingers out.
7.2%. I'd say the alcohol's masked a lot better than the Future Proof, because I was getting the more I was drinking it, the more I was enjoying it, but I was detecting a slight hint of that slight ethanol character, which I get a lot from West Coast IPAs anyway. So I don't know if that's a really fair comparison, really. But do you know what? I'd happily pay £3 for another can of this.
Okay.
I think
that's interesting.
It's okay. Yeah.
I know you said before we came on.
It's got a little bit more of like a slight citrusy bite to it, which I really like. So it doesn't go too sweet and tropical.
Yeah. You said before we came on that you were toying with the idea of getting a bottle of the old Hazy Jane and doing a vertical. It's interesting to see what you guys have actually done that.
I'd like.
And the results have been different.
I'd like to actually do that, because I know didn't Scott do a video today?
Scott's done one, and he wasn't happy at all with it. And the Beer Dad, he did one. So yeah, maybe it's something you can do in the future. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing I will say in the defence of the Future Proof, slightly different style. But last night I had this Tiny Rebel, which some could argue is sort of like the Welsh equivalent of Brewdog. And I have the sort of same grievances with Tiny Rebel as I do Brewdog, but at the same time, I've had some amazing beers from Tiny Rebel. And this was their Shakedown Mango Vermont IPA, which I had to pour away because I just didn't enjoy it. And then it got me thinking, because I did it last night, and I saw a slight backlash with this. I mean, I got this in a Beer 52 box, so I don't know how much it would actually cost to buy it individually. But it would annoy me paying like £2.50 to £4 for this than paying the £3 for this. And I know they're slightly two different beasts. This is a supermarket jobby, £3, cross the line, what you'd expect to pay. But I know for fact if I'm not going to enjoy it, I know I've bought it from a supermarket. Yeah. I know it's not, the cream of the crop all the time. But yeah, I don't know why I kept that can, because I had almost like Simon levels of frustration after I'd done the review. Because as I was doing the review, I was like, it's just not my thing. It's a bit too synthetic with the flavourings they've added. But like afterwards, I was just like, I can't drink it, and that doesn't happen often. So yeah,
I'll just go back to the comments quick.
I wouldn't say like I'm amazingly impressed, but OG Hazy, it's a good, simple, accessible hazy IPA, which all breweries are doing now anyway.
No, interesting. I respect your opinion on it for sure. We're all different, aren't we? What somebody doesn't like,
exactly.
Somebody's going to love. You can get your head around that and understand that not everybody's palate's tuned in the same as somebody else's. It's beer, isn't it? At the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the be all and end all. You know, if you enjoy, God forbid, a pint of Hobgoblin, then fair enough. That's your thing. Fucking fill your boots with it.
Sure, I've never actually had a pint of Hobgoblin before. I've only ever had it in cans or bottles, and I really want to try a well-kept line of Hobgoblin.
Well, there's shitloads around Oxford, mate. Some better than others, I must admit.
Oh yeah.
The hardcore IPA back in the day. So is that the original Mr. President then? This hardcore IPA, or is that another beer?
I'm not too sure because I recently discovered they still do Jackhammer, which I got really excited for, seeing it in the Brewdog in Manchester in the fridge. And I drank it, and it was just like, this beer's definitely changed. I don't always agree with that sentiment of when like breweries get a bit more successful, or if they get like a cash injection, that the beer's instantly going to suffer. But Jackhammer, when I had it like about a month or so ago, it was just absolutely abysmal. And I remember Mr. President being quite nice actually, but hardcore IPA as well, that was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah, because that Mr. President, that used to be Tesco finest double IPA, didn't it?
I remember like the first couple of times I had that Tesco's finest American IPA from Brewdog, and it messed my head up. I was like, wow, what's this?
Yeah.
And now I drink it and I'm like, oh, it's like just standard every day.
Standard fodder.
Yeah.
That just goes to show though, doesn't it, how your palate's evolved.
Yeah.
You know, I always it enters my head occasionally when you're mentioned, and that's East Coast IPA Green King. It still pops into the old head sometimes, mate. You remember watching your video all them many moons ago, and you were like, I really like this beer.
I still need to see if I can pick up a can or bottle of that, but I'm not sure if do they still brew that?
I've seen it knocking around in Morrison's in bottles.
Morrison's.
East Coast IPA, yeah. I've seen it in Morrison's. I haven't seen it anywhere else though. So it might be one of them sort of beers.
Yeah, or one of those beers up in one of those random boxes that you find of Green King.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
It'll
really just show up out of the blue one day.
Reason. Yeah. So I don't really fancy paying a tenner just so I could try Green King mild in bottle.
I got yeah, that was nice though. There was a couple of beers from that box that were quite nice. There was a Bellhaven Stout in there as well, which weren't too bad. I forget what it was called now. It was definitely Bellhaven, but they're linked anyway, aren't they? Yeah. A lot of people said that about them. Look, dog beers will be in the toilet with me tipping them down it. I'll have to challenge you on that one, Mark. The Roaster Coaster, mate. I'd have to challenge you on that one because I think that's a pretty decent stout. And Nitro Imperial Vietnamese coffee stout, 9%. So it's one of them, probably the highest ABV beer that's in the supermarkets in a can at the moment, I think. Am I right there, Peter? Maybe?
I think so, yeah.
I can't think of
seen
another
too many. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I saw a beer in the supermarket that went into double digits.
I think that's really good. Of course, it's 50p more. £3.50. Is it worth it? In my opinion, I think it is. It's not. Again, it's in a supermarket. Don't expect miracles, but expect something of a so-called level playing field of what you're getting from it. It's very creamy. There's plenty of coffee in there. Yeah, you get that 9% ABV, but it's a decent imperial stout, really, and it's definitely better than the Future Proof. So, Mark, if maybe it's not your cup of tea with the West Coast IPA, try out the imperial stout though. Seriously, I think you'd like that. And I think out of the two, that is going to be the beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gutted when I couldn't get a can of that. And I think it must have just been the last can that had gone because they didn't have that out of stock sticker. So I was like, shit, I've just missed it.
Well, my Tesco Extra is quite a big store in my town. They are jack shit. None. Not even not even labelled up for where it's meant to go. There's nothing. I got these from Buckingham Tesco, which is probably one of the smallest Tesco's you'll ever see. It's a fucking minute little, fucking farty little supermarket, really, to be honest. It's not an Extra. It's like that next level from the Express.
Yeah.
And it was in there. There was quite a lot of them in there. And I went in there thinking, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to walk out huffing and puffing thinking, another fucking supermarket that I ain't got it. But no, they were there. They were sitting pretty on the top shelf. And I thought, okay, fair play. And off I went. Good evening. Good evening, Stu.
Hi, Stu.
Rory comments again. I've just got over kidney stones, mate, so giving the beer a bit of a rest.
Oh.
Wise decision, Rory.
Yeah, it'll do your liver some good as well.
Yeah. Replenish.
That first beer that you're going to have is going to taste absolutely amazing.
For £3 a go, and buy 4 cans of Rheinbacher or 1079 Project from Aldi, and you will have a better time. Yeah, I don't know about the 1079 projects. I haven't had that, but Rheinbacher I think is pretty decent.
I do enjoy Rheinbacher.
Yeah, especially in the summer months. That's a pretty decent go-to sort of lager. That.
Oh, definitely.
4 cans or 4 bottles for £3 or £4, something like that. It's worth the money. Simon's Popper at Dom of Beer was correct. I don't think it was.
No, I would have to disagree with that. Because that's like you criticising like Sirens. I can't remember what the job title be, like someone who like goes round to different events and showcases the beer. I don't want to say PR because that's when you get like a private company to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be like criticising like Cloudwater's head of sales for like hyping up a beer that his brewery that he worked for, the brewery that they work for. It's just, he's hardly going to say, "Oh, this beer is really shit. Don't buy it."
Yeah, he's a middleman, isn't he? At the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. He's obviously had to go to different sort of meetings and like liaising with some people from Brewdog to like get these deals sorted.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just didn't seem to make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, bullets fired at the wrong person, in my opinion. If you want to sort of take a shot at Brewdog, then fine. They're big enough and man enough to just brush it off, really. And same with Tesco's. They're the two parts of the puzzle that have made this happen. He's just put it out there. He's the trumpet, isn't he? He's just blowing what's been put in front of him. You know.
And to be honest, I don't think he's like gone over the top with the sort of like promotion of it, really.
Yeah. Well, pretty much the same as it has been before on the last lot and the lot before that. It was just, this is what's coming, guys. Get a load of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Some of it come good, some of it hasn't.
It's just a little bit of fun at the end of the day. Because I think the beers would have probably sold just as much without his sort of his like activity on Instagram. So I think it did. But to be honest, he seemed to take it on the chin, found the humour.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any like hard feelings, really.
Simon's apology post, sorry. I think he commented on it, didn't he? He said, "Water under the bridge. Forget about it." Fair play.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we run the risk of taking this to a place where it doesn't need to be, and just like stretching it out. It's like it was interesting for the few hours when these things were posted and then the responses. But if you look on the comments on Simon's apology post and also the original post, it does get a little bit ugly for no reason, and it's just like, what is the point? And that's on both sides of like the argument, and it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah. I've always found that from I'm a bit more savvied up to it now. I've been doing it for about four and a bit years. I'm a bit more savvied up with it. But when I first started off, I was keen. And it was post on these groups, post on certain groups. And now I know I don't do any of that anymore now anyway, but I know now not to put, if I was to put a video onto a certain group, I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't even think about putting a video on that group, because I know the backlash that I would get from it, from the people that are on the group. You know, that beer wouldn't fit into their sort of category. Let's just say.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's the ugly side of it all, and it is a shame, but there's no getting away from it. It exists. Like most hobbies out there, you've got people that are going against the grain all the time. It's just how it is. You know, you've got to go into it a little bit with an open mind when you're doing this sort of thing, and expect some positives, but also get some criticism from it. If you can accept both, then you'll do all right out of it. But if you get a bit pissed off with negative stuff and you're deleting comments all the time, I mean, what's the point in that?
Yeah.
Love reading all the beer online controversy. These new Tesco beers and views of people, lol. Yeah, it's opened up a proper can of worms, hasn't it? This whole Brewdog
definitely
thing. But I can't think of any other brewery that would carry it on like
such
Brewdog
a reaction. Would. Yeah. I mean, they love this sort of stuff.
They can thrive on it.
Yeah. For like every person who like says, "Oh, I'm never drinking a Brewdog beer again," all it takes is like a group of rowdy, and I see this a lot every time I go to Brewdog. It just takes a group of like rowdy people having a session all day to like stumble into Brewdog, looking for like what's your like equivalent of like Foster's and Carling, and then just like, well, we don't have that, but try this. So I don't think Brewdog are gonna suffer.
No.
I think they're making enough money.
This one's for you, maybe, Peter, on this one. Just ordered the beer 52 for February, Peter. I saw you unboxing. How did you find the beers, mate? They looked promising.
It's one of those, see, when Beer 52 do boxes like that of like pre-existing beers, where they just buy the beers from the brewery, it's such a satisfying box. I think it's been a really good box with this one. The only like real negative one was this Tiny Rebel Shakedown, and I did find it a little bit frustrating that we got a can of Dirty Pills from Vocation, which is available in Asda, as well as the Harpoon IPA. But there's been some really good ones. Glen Affric Cream Soda Pale Ale tasted like pretty much alcoholic cream soda. There was a Williams Brothers like chocolate stout, which just lacked something to take it up to the next level. But at the same time, if that beer was on cask, it would be a really good beer. So I think this month's box has been quite good. But I think this is probably going to be the last box that I have. Because I think I'm going to cash my sort of beer points in once I've reviewed all my beers.
You must have a few built up now.
I think I've got about, if I review the rest of these beers, I think I've got about 28 quid to play with. And I think you've got to spend.
I heard about that when
quid.
I pulled out.
Yeah. I think you've got to spend 50 quid before you can use them. So if I can get some semi-decent, it's sort of like cheaper beers just to get as many beers as possible and pay like 22
just
quid.
To use it all.
Yeah, it's like, that's not going to harm me. It's like another month's box, really.
Yeah.
It's just, when it comes to like themes based on geography, like the next box is going to be Ireland, which I know there's great breweries in Ireland, but Beer 52 have the tendency of giving you like 3 breweries and you get like 3 cans or bottles each, and then like one of this and one of this, and then you look in the magazine and you're like, well, I would have much preferred this, this, and this.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off with it in the end. I got fed up of multiple beers from the same brewery. I wanted variety. Yeah. It's bad enough not picking the beers yourself. I like to pick my own beers, so I was always a bit sort of like and stuff. But then when you're getting the same beers from the same brewery, and it's like, some boxes it was just a 2 brewery box, wasn't it? And that was pissed just me off in the end. But there are some good boxes.
Yeah.
The German box was good.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed that. I think that's the only box where I asked to have an additional box sent so I could have all the beers from the whole range. I mean, it meant I had like 2 bottles of this, 2 bottles of that for some beers, but it was like, yeah, because it's just something a bit different. But yeah, this month's box has been pretty good. But I think I'm going to call it a day from this point on and just stick to like the Mikkeller box that I get.
Yeah. No, it's fair dues, mate.
Yeah.
You've been at it for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Loving Roaster Coaster. Future Proof is average. Some of the comments by a few online, so have been shocking today. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
The new Brewdog Pale Ale should be £3 for 4. It would fly out and use it as a stepping stone for craft beer from Carlin. Yeah, if you can tune yourself into to have that way of thinking with a beer that's not amazing, and then just thinking, like you said, you know, people are just drinking Carlin. Yeah, it's better than Carlin. So push that guy onto that Brewdog Pale Ale, and you might get somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Wrong team. Well, Delirium, Westmar Double are all world beaters in the supermarket shelf for less money than the new Brewdog crap at Tesco.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, they're good beers.
I think there's a lot more going on with those beers compared to the Future Proof.
Oh yeah, yeah. With Future Proof, it doesn't sort of like it's not going to hold up to any of the old stuff.
No.
And even some of the new old stuff, it don't hold up to, without a doubt. It's yeah, pretty poor. But having said that, the Roaster Coaster is pretty good. I'm happy with that.
I'm looking forward to that one when I eventually get a can of it.
Mm. We'll watch the live one tomorrow. Love both of your reviews, Dean and Clueless. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to the Mikkeller Beer Geek Phantom Spirits from this month's Beer Club.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Cheers, by the way, mate.
Wish Brewdog could release Cocoa Psycho in Tesco. Yeah, that would do well in Tesco. You've got a 9% beer from these guys knocking about on the shelves. Cocoa Psycho, what's that? 10 point something? I think it'd do all right if they bought that. Especially in the winter months.
See, I think with stuff like this, it's good for like Brewdog to sort of like test the waters with these sorts of beers.
Mm. It's the ABV, isn't it, that's going to put people off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Brewdog could take a lot of positives from this release that they've done.
Hmm.
So hopefully that'll like spur them on to do something interesting the next time round. But I would be interested to hear what Modern Times thought of this beer.
Yeah. Hmm. Did you see Carl Waters' post about the whole coronavirus thing possibly affecting them as a business? How do you think it will affect craft beer as a whole?
Well, I know Verdant are suffering because their canning line that they wanted to import, they've had to put that on hold because it was coming from China. So you're seeing a lot more Verdant beers in keg as opposed to cans.
Hmm.
And I was actually talking to John from the Northern Beer Temple, and he was like telling me that there are some like wholesalers who have just got quite a lot of Verdant kegs that they just can't get rid of because a lot of bars they've already bought them because there's such a big supply of them because that's really the biggest output that Verdant can do at the moment. But I didn't read. I saw like a screenshot of Cloudwater's post, but I think they wrote like an extensive blog on it, so I'm not too sure really how it would affect the likes of Cloudwater.
Beer hooligan, Matt Barker. Best Brewdog beer I've had was the Kamikaze Knitting Club. Maple. Yeah, that was pretty decent back then. Fancy artwork. I think I did that with Christoph actually on a live when that first came out. But it was pretty good beer. Jaeger. I haven't been let down by Brewdog's Abstract series yet. £10 a bottle though. Yeah. 330s, aren't they, Peter? The Abstract stuff.
I think so, yeah.
Or was it 375s? I can't remember.
I've got an empty bottle that I can have a quick look at when I can remember where I put it.
I've had a few of the Abstract beers and they've been pretty good.
What are you doing?
Can be reviews the best beers they do. Yeah. Captain Meats.
Let me just
to be fair, how much blame should Tesco take for this? I bet a lot of them ordering the companies to make this so can make a good return on craft beer. Yeah, I guess so. I know there was a lot of problems with was it Unbarred from the last lot that came out. It got into a little bit of financial difficulty with the get together with Tesco's. I don't know. I need to look into that a little bit more. But from what I've heard from people in the past, they come off a little bit worse for wear financially, getting in bed with Tesco's.
I was wondering why you very rarely see Unbarred beers on the Tesco shelves.
Yeah, they lost.
I've not really. Yeah.
I don't know if it was down to Tesco's or it was down to their link up with somebody else.
Right. But the Abstract bottles are 375.
Okay. Newer World, yeah. Fucking lovely that is. What's that? That's £3, isn't it? That's banging. That is for £3.
I've not had that one. Have you had the Rapscallion?
No.
That
is that the orange one?
That's a good beer. That's like, if I can get hold of it, that's like potential summer beer.
No, I haven't had the pleasure of that one yet. To be fair, it's good. You sometimes have a bad can or bottle, as it is. It shows that is not mass-produced million-gallon beer. Yeah,
it's a good way to see
like
things.
Yeah. Evening, gents. You've saved me £3. Obscene.
There we go. We've done our job.
Yeah. Take it somewhere else, Rob. You're not gonna miss out on much, mate. I tell you. Or put 50p towards it and get the roaster coaster.
Yeah. Sounds like a good investment.
Yeah. Well worth the extra 50p for sure. You never have a bad Bud or Stella. It's always the same. You can always rely on Guinness. Yeah, Guinness is...
I'd agree with Guinness.
I prefer Murphy's, but Guinness will do. Yeah.
I got a 4-pack of the Guinness Original. I was like, that's a very satisfying 4-pack of beer there.
Yeah. Hazy OG is shocking from what I've seen. Another one for the toilet.
Well, after just drinking it, I would very much beg to differ. So I would be interested to see what you thought of it, Mark, though. I definitely think it's... I don't think it's as good as Hazy Jane. So if it is the replacement to Hazy Jane, then slightly loses a point or so. But I think for a hazy IPA, you could pay £6-7 for something similar.
I've had it a few times, and I thought that's a pretty good beer. I have had a can of that before. I haven't reviewed it, and I just drunk it really and didn't really think about it. I finished it. I had an empty glass at the end of it.
Yeah,
but I didn't think about it.
It's like not the sign of like a really good beer, where it's just like bang and it's gone.
Yeah. That and having a shit day at work and coming home and just wanting something cold.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Fucking a hard seltzer sounds good after a shit day at work.
Yeah. Brewdog again. I wonder how big a brown envelope Domo beer got from Brewdog for getting all these crap beers into Tesco.
I think Tesco took a big chunk of that. Well, actually, I think the other way around. I think Brewdog came out terrible pun, top dog on that one.
Yeah, I mean, the last two waves of beers have been everybody's thing, haven't they? We've had all sorts. This is purely a Brewdog rebranding sort of thing, isn't it? With a couple of additions chucked into it.
Yeah, that's it. They've done that whole like eco sort of project. So I think it's just Brewdog were like, yeah, we've got some changes in our business practices, so we might as well just release a couple of beers while we do it, capitalize on the whole. I mean, I think that's a good thing where they're doing that. If you take 50 cans to a Brewdog bar, you become an equity for Punk's member.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sort of like, yeah, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to get on the train to Manchester or Liverpool with a bin bag full of empty Brewdog cans. Doing it, but
yeah. Well, yeah. Brewdog should bring back the old recipes for Punk, Hazy, and all the great beers that they make up a different company called B-Dog or something for the crazy stuff like the new Hazy and Indie. Didn't they play about what was this live stuff that they did at the pumps? What was that all about?
I'm not too sure. It was just like the beers were a little bit more like. Yeah, that was a weird concept. That I don't think I ever tried anything on that Brewdog live stuff.
No, I never got to try any of that. Just curious. Captain Meats. I agree. Bring back the old 6.5 ABV Punk IPA. Yeah, I wishful thinking that is, mate. I don't think we'll ever see that again.
See, that's the thing. It's like, do you think that would really fit in with this beer landscape now?
What, the original Punk?
Yeah, I don't think it changed that much.
I think people would go fucking mad on it.
I'd like to think that they would, but I think like after a few months, people would just be like, "Yeah, it's punk, isn't it?" And then just like
like everything. No, it would create a fuss, wouldn't it? For a few days, there'd be a massive sort of like, "Why? What's going on here?" sort of thing, and then it would just die to death. Like a bit like the rebranding. You know, people got on their high horses about that, but it'll just die off, and it'll just become the norm.
Yeah.
Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Scott.
Evening
Glad
to you
that
too.
you managed to get hold of some beers, chap. And then Kent Beer Reviews. All right, Scott. Yeah, I agree. New branding is rubbish. And the last one was better, as it did stand out. Looked crafty, making it look like Carling with the words "crafted" in the UK. Yeah, I'm sure the new stuff will grow on me, but I did like the old stuff before. I know Simon's got a habit of saying about it's got to be because the branding was written sideways. It's got to be put on its arse and aged, or whatever he says on his videos.
I don't know where he got that idea from, because that doesn't tell me. Put it on its side.
It's got to be aged, as Peter. It's got writing on, you know.
Because
no, I don't get that.
I don't think he realizes, but if you tilted that 90 degrees, that's like half if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's. I don't know. It's just so unnecessary. I mean, that to me, this part here where like has the black bar, and then that's just ugly. It's. I think it's really ugly.
Hmm. No, I'm sure we'll come to terms with it eventually.
Yeah.
We'll forget about it.
Brewdog should do what someone like Pabst Blue Ribbon does, and has like competitions where people could submit their artwork, and it's like your artwork will be in our cans, and it's like they could easily do stuff like that, and people would.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea. All the budding artists out there, that gives them a little platform to try their handiwork out, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Compare Hand Loose versus Future Proof. Not had Future Proof myself yet, but we'll give it a whirl. I'm sure you will, Craig. Interesting to see what you think of it, mate.
That'd actually be a good head-to-head video, that.
Yeah. No, it's always I do always find it interesting to see other people's thoughts on a beer that you know you've had numerous times.
Yeah.
Or once even, and you, just to get the lowdown on it, and just see if you're sort of like singing off the same hymn sheet as other guys out there. Needed IPA by Carlin. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if they didn't think of something like that.
I'd love if they did a beer like that. Yeah.
Foster's v Carlin. Just imagine that. Foster, no. Yeah. The daddy of all macro lagers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, free.
I'd try it.
I see Mark spouting his nonsense. Here he is. Yep. Beardad paid £5.50 a can for the Future Proof in the Brewdog bar. Was not happy. Yeah, I'd be pretty fucking pissed off.
I'd be annoyed at that as well. £5.50.
I'd be frog marching him back, saying, I want my fucking money back. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not having that.
No.
Wonder a bit beer again. I wonder if the beer is shit. Then when I reviewed it, it will be filmed being poured down the toilet. Someone has to tell these fools not to put crap beer on the shelves. What are you on about here? Are you on about these beers or are you on about other beers? Because you haven't had these beers yet, so you can't really comment on it. Basically, Brewdog.
I think Brewdog have made a good return on these already. So this next couple of weeks,
yeah. Okay. Some people reckon they have renamed it OG as they have scrimped on the hops and using flavourings instead. Ooh.
Okay, where's that come from? Like, what evidence? There's nothing in this beer that I've tasted. Well, I've drank it. I've finished it. This is a big smoke that I'm drinking now, but I'm going to use it for visual reference anyway. There's nothing in OG Hazy that tells me they've added flavourings. It's just a good access level hazy IPA.
Brewdog have done this OJ line to make Hazy Jane cheaper to produce and make more pennies profit.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that, but I'd buy this. I keep showing this beer. It's not the same beer. I'd buy this again, but I'd pick the Cloudwater collab above it. But yeah, I don't know why people are hating on this one, to be honest.
It's like what happened to Newcastle Brown since Heineken took over. Yeah, I have heard some complete horror stories about Nuki Brown being a former shadow of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known that for years, so I don't know. I think when Brewdog try and mass produce stuff, they fail badly. Their stuff you can only get online, like their stouts are great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I said earlier on in the opening video, it's like their core stuff. It's like just he's walking past the brewery, just pull him in and just tell him to keep an eye on this part of the for a minute. Hang on a minute. There's a bloke walking a dog here. Get him in here. He can be on the canning line, you know. Ying versus Yang, but Punk IPA and Average Juice are awesome for mass-produced beers.
Well, it's nice to have a bit of balance. Because I do enjoy Punk every now and then. A pint of it in Wetherspoons always satisfies me. And yeah, I don't buy as much as I used to, but Elvis Juice still hits the spot.
Yeah, I did go through a little bit of a spell of drinking Elvis Juice quite a bit when it first came out. Didn't we do? We did something again, didn't we? It was like a comparison video.
I think we did Elvis Juice versus Bellhaven Twisted Grapefruit. I think that's what we did. Excuse me.
Vanessa Kitty says hi. Beer Hooligan.
Hello.
Can get hold of its own Not as good as the original, but better than a lot of crap IPAs out there. Managed to get Roaster Coaster at Modern Times now. Cool. Interesting.
Nicely done. Looking forward to your review, Scott.
You'll be impressed with one of them anyway, that's for definite. Fucking hell, I've lost track of where we are on the comments now. Here we go. Here we go. Green King East Coast IPA is shocking.
Sacrilege.
Sacrilege. I mean,
how
it probably is now. Like...
Yeah. Oh, I could it's part of the wank now if I was to try that again.
Yeah. You would have
get it in a
together.
Yeah, you could get it in a. Can't you get it in like what's it called? Nitro cans.
You can in 4-packs, yeah, and it's not. It's shit, Peter. Stay away from
it. Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah. You might as well just put their normal IPA in nitro, aren't you? If you're going to doing things like that. Dean, where did you get the Roaster Coaster from? Tesco's in Buckingham. Got both of them from there. Because my big Tesco Extra didn't have it. Captain Meats on the Vorsteiner.
Can't go wrong with Vorsteiner.
Adam Johnson, evening chaps.
Hi Adam, hope you're doing well.
Window beer reviews with Thomas. Liverpool out of the cup.
I think they'll manage.
Yeah. To be fair, pre or YouTube future proof would be amazing. Let's take a chill pill and enjoy beer. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was watching that shite, Thomas. EU protests were good. Just picked up 3 cans of Roaster Coaster from Tesco, chilling in the fridge now. Fingers crossed.
Oh, that sounds good.
Get mine from Tesco Hove if anywhere's near there. I remember reading Duval Beer Mat, and it's said that biker rider Eddie Mersox used to drink a Duval with a raw egg in it before a race.
Fair dues.
Okay, that's his thing.
Yeah, worked for him, obviously.
Beer Hooligan, Captain Meats Adventures. It was a Duval with 2 egg yolks in it. Guinness cans is god awful, all metallic tasting throughout.
I actually strangely
of
enjoyed
Nigerian Guinness
last time. I know you can get the
right.
Guinness Extra Strong in B&M Bargains.
I like that. I think it's good.
I think that's a lovely beer.
It's really good. Yeah, there's a guy here just commented on the subject of Guinness, spotted the foreign extra stout. Yeah. You can't knock it, can you, for that price? Big bottle for £2.
There we go. Yeah.
Comments. Looks like I got here late. Did you try the coaster yet? Yay or nay? Yay. Give it a go, mate. You'll like it. Paul's Beer Reviews. Evening, guys. PA Brew News. Paul. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Hi, Paul.
Captain Meach. Scott just throwing it in the garden. Funnier than the toilet. Haha. Okay. I think we're gonna slow it down a little bit now anyway, because I'm not in the best place to be doing a video right at 10:20 at night now, because my kids are in bed and I've just been shouted at by the missus saying I'm keeping them awake. So of course, big thank you to my good friend Peter. For
always a pleasure, Dean. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Always nice to link up with you, pal.
Yeah.
Big thank you to everybody out there that's left comments.
Yeah. Massive
always
thank you all.
It keeps it going that little bit more, doesn't it? With a little bit of interaction to bounce off with other people's thoughts on things. But yeah, fantastic stuff. A mixed opinion from the two beers that I've had.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Future Proof and OG. Don't say OJ.
OJ Simpson in the house.
Yeah. Or that shitty, overly alcoholic lager.
But anyway, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be doing something again.
I'm sure we'll do this again.
We always
think this has kick-started us to do this a bit more regularly and a little bit sooner. So we'll get our heads together and pick up something.
Ciao.
See you guys later. Have a good one.
See you later. Take it easy.